begin here in a tall seat. Actually, we're going to switch it up. Since we talked about opening up the low back, we're going to start there before we move into any intense asana. So bring your knees wide and sit back into child's pose. So knees are about as wide as the mat. Sit back onto your heels and then reach your arms out in front. And then just find your breath here. And we'll begin our practice in this gentle posture, which if your knees are talking to you, then you might, you can always roll up a towel or put a pillow or something between your hamstrings and your calves here so you're not folding all the way and you're just a little bit more lifted, but that still gives you the stretch. So you can shove something underneath your thigh, your legs right here, and just kind of fold over like so. And anything will work, but do it on both knees so that you're still even if you only have issues on one knee. The idea here is to find a comfortable pose. So you're starting here. This is meant to feel good. So make sure to modify or adjust it if you need to. And this is a great place to bring your emphasis to your breath. So breathing into the back body, into the low back, into the hip area. And your arms reach out in front, your hips pull yourself back so that there's a nice big stretch in the spine. And then go ahead and walk your hands over to the right side. And then hands back through the center and over to the left side. And then hands back through the center. And press up. Let's press up to all fours just to relieve the legs for a moment. Tuck the toes and press back to downward facing dog. Good. And then in your downward dog, come up onto your toes. Drop one heel at a time. This is one of my favorite ways to release the back. I feel like it really helps to open up the back of the legs to take that tension out of the low back. So let your heels drop down. Let your hips lift up. Feel your pelvic bowl tilt forward so that you're getting that deep stretch right at the hamstring insertion at the top of the legs there. And then come all the way back down. Big toes together, knees wide, like you're gonna come back to that child's pose again. But this time slide your right arm underneath you over to the left side, threading it through. Good, come back through the center. And you can always do this from all fours too, if that's easier on your knees. Thread your left arm through. Good, and then come back to center. Tuck your toes, press back to downward dog. And from downward dog, shift forward into plank. So As you move into plank, engage your core. Reach out through the crown of the head. So nice, strong pose here. And come up onto the tips of your toes. So your feet are getting a nice big stretch. Those toes are getting a nice big stretch. And your core is lifting. And from your hips, pull back to downward facing dog. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale forward. And exhale to downward dog. One more time. Inhale forward. Then exhale, downward dog. And come forward to plank. And take your knees down to modify. We're going to make our way down to the mat just really slow here. Elbows tuck into the sides so they brush the rib cage, lowering yourself all the way down to the belly. Keep your hands right next to your chest here and lift up into a small cobra pose. Tuck your elbows in, shoulders drop down. Exhale and release. Inhale, lift up into cobra again. A little bit higher maybe, and exhale, release. So all of this is a warm up for the back, so go easy here. Inhale, come up. We'll have a chance to go deeper later, stronger later. Exhale, release. Good. And then bring your forearms forward into Sphinx pose. And then forearms parallel, palms pressing down, heart reaches forward. And then press into that forearms and try to inch your body forward here as you really lengthen the midsection of the body. And then turn and look over your right shoulder. Nice little neck stretch here. And then bring your head back. And look over the left shoulder. And then bring it back. And then release down. Plant your hands under your shoulders. Take it all the way back from your knees. Tuck your toes to downward facing dog. Good. Shorten your downward dog. Now walk your toes in towards your hands. Just a little couple inches here. Just enough to get your heels a little bit closer to the mat. Looking at your feet, seeing that they're even, toes pointed straight forward. Try to get those heels down as close as you can. And then walk your hands back an inch or two. So just giving more weight towards those legs. Giving more of a stretch to the back of the legs. So we'll do plenty today to open up the back, the hips, and the hamstrings as they all work together. And all our culprits into any of that back tension that we get. And we're going to walk the feet in a couple inches, walk your hands in a couple inches. So just a really shortened downward dog here. Might have to come up onto your fingertips. And then walk your hands all the way back to your feet. And let your head release down to a forward fold. A little yes and no nods here with the head. And then take your hands to your shins and lift yourself up halfway. So coming up to the knees, look forward. And then exhale, slide all the way back down into that fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold. And inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold. So looking at your feet, there's a lot to be said with the balance of the body with the foundation of your feet. So if you have the weight shifted towards one foot more than the other, balance it out. And if it's folding inward, then balance it out by reaching outward and vice versa. Just make sure that the feet are totally even here. And then walk your hands up the thighs, up to your hips. Bring your hands on your hips and lift your heart and draw your shoulders back. Draw your elbows back and look all the way up towards the ceiling. Take a couple breaths here in this nice little back bend as your chest lifts. your pelvis is still back. So you're still kind of sticking your butt out so that we get that nice deep back bend. If you stick your hips forward, you can't really bend in this low back. It just compresses the spine. So we want to tilt this pelvis forward, lift your heart up, and then we'll go ahead and take the arms up and continue that little back bend as you reach to the sky, maybe even slightly back behind you. And then bring your hands together and come to a nice straight spine as you reach all the way up. Interlacing your fingers, reach over to the right. And come back to center and reach over to the left. And come back to center and bring your hands to your heart. Good. Make your way to the top of the mat if you're not there. Bring your big toes together. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. And exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to plank and lower down for chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or upward dog since we've warmed up the back. You can go there. Exhale to downward dog. Inhale, step to your hands, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, and exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And step back, lower down, nice and strong through chaturanga. Inhale into your back bend, cobra or up dog. Exhale to downward dog. Inhale, step to your hands. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise to the top. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach high. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And step back, lower down. Inhale, open up. And exhale, downward dog. We'll take 5 breaths here. If your low back is still tight here, then take your knees down and come into child's pose. You can switch it up and have your knees together or knees wide. Modify your child's pose by sliding a blanket under there, whatever you need to do. What's great about this type of teaching is that it really empowers you to just listen to your body. Because I'm not coming around and telling you you're doing it wrong or right, and I'm not adjusting. I'm just giving some verbal cues, but more so just reminding you that this is meant to feel good. So if it's not feeling good, then make some changes. It's meant to work for your body in the shape that it's in today. So please let this be a therapeutic practice for you and not something that you're just pushing through. Good. And then go ahead and walk your feet up to your hands, back to that forward fold. Bring your feet hip width apart. Inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold. And take any forward fold here. You can grab your calves, you can grab your toes, you can grab your elbows, whichever version you like. And then take some deep breaths here. Begin to straighten the legs if that feels good. If that's too much tension on your back or your legs, then keep your knees bent. Good. And then we're going to slowly release your arms and lift up halfway. And then take a breath here. Bring your hands up to your hips and come all the way up to standing. Good. Look down at your feet and notice if there's any imbalances again. We tend to do the same thing over and over. I tend to lean towards this outer edge of my right foot. My right toes kind of turn out. And I know that that affects my right knee. I've been having issues with my knee. My right hip is super tight. So super important to set that foundation every time you come to this place. And then just stand tall here. Turn your palms open. Close your eyes. And feel into the weight of your feet. Feel into the energy of your body, noticing where it feels bright, where it feels dark, where it feels heavy, where it feels light. And then breathe into the whole body. Really the most valuable tool we have for healing the body, healing the mind, is the breath. So while you stand still here, breathe deeply. And do your best to keep that deep breathing with you throughout the postures, whether you're holding still, whether it's easy, whether it's hard. Bring your hands to your heart. And then inhale, reach all the way back up. And exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And step back to plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale to downward dog. Inhale the right leg up behind you. And exhale, step the right leg all the way through into a lunge. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up to high lunge. And exhale, lower that back knee just a few inches to start. Inhale and reach up. And exhale, lower. If this is too much on your shoulders, hands to your hips. Inhale, reach up. Straightening both legs now. Exhale, deepen. Let that back knee hover just above the ground. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, lower down. Good. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Hold here in the middle. Back leg is strong. Chest is lifting. Hands to your heart now. And prayer twist. Left elbow to the outside of that right knee. This one should feel good on the low back. You can always take your left hand down to the ground or to a block and take your right hand to the sky. So those are all options. Keep your hands right here in this prayer twist. And you can open your arms up from here. So choose where you want to take it. Take 2 more deep breaths. Extend the crown of the head forward. Extend that left leg back. Good. Release your hands down. And we're going to lift into standing split. So lift that left leg to the sky as you fold over the right leg. Feel free to use a block here if that's a little far for you. We're trying to lift that left leg up as high as you can. Bring your forehead towards the shins. And keep the weight even in that right foot. And deep breaths. And then bring your feet together, coming through chair pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And step back to plank and lower down for chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale the left leg up behind you. Dropping that right heel down. Inhale. And exhale, bring that left leg all the way through into a lunge. Bring your hands to your hips. Bring your arms to the sky. And find that crescent lunge. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, find a little bend. Lower that back knee down slightly. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, lunging. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, lunge. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, lunge. Find that place in the middle. Bring your hands to your heart. And take that prayer twist. Right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Keep that back leg active if you're able to. If you need to modify, you can take that back knee down. And then press your palms together towards the center of your chest. And breathe. Feel free to modify. Try to stick with the same variation you did on the other side. Good. And then release your twist. Plant your hands and lift your right leg up. Standing splits, folding over the left. Again, left toes point straight forward. Weight is even in that left foot. We don't want to create any imbalances here. So push down through all four corners. Shift that left hip back and lift that right leg high. Forehead towards the shin. Deep breaths. Then bring your legs together for chair pose. Sit low, reach your arms high. And exhale and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step back to plank and lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward dog. Those chaturangas are meant to build heat, build strength. And if they don't feel like they're working for you, if it's too much strain on the shoulders, then please skip it and go back to downward dog. It can definitely do a number on your shoulders if you're not if you're not feeling right in the posture. Good. And then we're going to step the right foot forward again, back into that lunge. And then with your hands down on the ground here, we're going to lift right up into that standing splits again. However, this time we're going to shift into our half moon pose. So if you've got a block handy, that's great. You can place it under your right hand. If not, you can keep your right fingertips on the ground. Take your left hand to your hip. And then rotate your hips open to the left side and lift that left arm to the sky. You're going to push back through the left foot. So spread the toes of the left foot. Reach out through the ball of the foot and keep twisting the body to open to the left side. Looking to your left. Deep breaths. If you're super solid here, you can shift your gaze up to that left hand. Good. And then bring your left arm down. Square off your hips. So we're just going to switch here and rotate it. So if you've got the block, place it under your left hand. If you don't, no big deal. Come on to your left fingertips. Take your right hand to your hip. So your hips stay squared here. Back leg stays lifted. And then now we reach that right arm up. Getting deep into that right hip. Rotate the body to the right. Look up to your right thumb. Keep the back leg active. And then release the right hand down. Bring your legs together into chair pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back to plank or go straight to downward dog. Chaturanga. Upward dog and downward dog. Left leg forward. Hands on the mat. Just bring your hands right in front of that foot slightly so that you can transfer the weight into that left leg, lifting the right leg high. And then walk your hands out a bit so they're right underneath your shoulders. You want the torso nice and long here. Left hand's going to stay down, right hand on your hip. Hands on the ground or on a block. Blocks are really nice in this posture and give you more space in that left hip crease. Give you more room to twist those hips open to the right. Keep the back leg strong. So back foot is reaching. Spread the toes of that right foot and then reach your right hand to the sky. Notice where the weight shifts in that left foot and keep it even. Deep breaths. Ooh, love this one. Go ahead and bring it back to center. Square off your hips. Just take a moment here to regroup, and then we're going to revolve it. So now you're going to shift the block, if you've got one, to that right hand. Shift your left hand to your hip. Keep the legs straight here. Keep them straight but not locked. We don't want to hyperextend. And then turn to your left. So look to your left. Keep that right leg active and reach your left arm up. Rotate the body so you're twisting through the spine, stretching in the legs, and breathing. Good, and then come back to center, release your hands down, bring your feet together, sit back into chair pose, inhale, reach your arms high, and exhale and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, and step it back, lower down. Remember to modify if you need to, come to your knees. These are meant to be therapeutic. If it's not feeling that way, modify it, skip it, do what you need to do. Take it back to downward facing dog. Again, downward dog or child's pose. Listen to your body. From downward dog, come forward to a forward fold. Bring your hands to your hips and rise all the way up to standing. Good. From standing, we're going to come into some balancing work here. Lift your right knee up. Take your hands around the right knee. Circle the right foot just to get that ankle joint in full motion here. And then take your left hand to your hip and holding onto your right knee, or if you're a little more flexible and you can grab your big toe and extend the right leg out. Keep your chest lifted. So what tends to happen is we round forward here in this pose, and then it looks like this. So either bend your knee and come up straight or hold the knee, but you want your spine straight. So if you have a hold of the foot, keep pulling the shoulders back. You can bend the knee a little bit, you can bend it a lot. Just pay attention to the straight spine. And then you're going to take the leg out to the side. So either holding the toe or the knee. Looking forward. Or if you like, turn and look over your left shoulder. Adds a little bit. Good, then we'll bring the leg and the gaze back to the center. Release the foot and extend that leg straight out now. So push through the heel, lift it up high. And then we're going to take it all the way back into warrior three. So reach that right leg straight back behind you. Bring your hands to your heart, out to the side, or straight out in front. And you choose here how you'd like to take this warrior three pose. Again, where's the weight in the foot? Keep that weight even. Ground down through those 4 points. Reach out through the crown of the head. Take one more deep breath. And then slowly, hands to heart, legs back down to the earth. Take a breath here. Let the shoulders relax. Okay, left side. Left leg lifts. So you can start by pulling that knee up. I know it's hard to tell if you're in a straight line, but sometimes we take it back a little too far too. So we want to draw the belly in, straighten out the back, and then either hold on to the toe or the knee. Right hand's on your hip. And then you'll take that left leg out to the side. Deep breaths. Keep your eyes steady on one point. Good. Bring it all the way back to the center. The leg, the gaze looking straight out in front. And then release your hands to your hips and flex that left foot, pushing that left leg straight out. Hands to your heart. And then just sweep it through without touching all the way back into warrior three. Notice the weight in that right foot. Adjust if you need to. Square off your hips. Lift and tone through the belly. Lift the ribs, crown of the head reaching forward. Take your arms out, forward, hands at heart, whatever you did on the other side. Good. One more breath. And then slowly come back to the center. Ooh, nice. Nice deep hip work here. So let's take the feet wide as the mat. And then we're going to come down into the squat, malasana. Bring your elbows inside the knees. Let your toes turn out if you need to. If you can keep them parallel, then that's great. You can get a little lower in your hips, dropping your heels, dropping your hips down, and then lift and lengthen the spine. So we often get the shoulders up by the ears. So we want to drop the shoulders down and get nice and long here. Close your eyes and breathe. Such a great way to relieve the tension in the hips and the low back, especially after you've done that strong work. This is my go-to pose for releasing my back. I notice I do it a lot when I travel, probably from lugging all this stuff around. But I do it in line at the airport. And every time I do it, somebody asks me if I'm okay. So they think I'm passing out or something. But it's just a stretch. This feels really good. Unless, of course, I'm in Asia or something, and they probably think I'm requesting for the bathroom. All right, slowly press into your heels and rise all the way up. Oh, wow. Bring your hands to your hips, walk your feet in. Release your arms down by your side. Close your eyes and just feel that prana. Feel that energy moving throughout the body. Breathe with it. And bring your hands to your heart. And reach all the way up, stretch to the sky. And then exhale and fold all the way down. Good. Now let's enjoy this forward fold a little. Different release for the low back. Grab opposite elbows and let your head hang. Let your body twist over to the right just a tad, and then over to the left, and then again to the right, and then over to the left. And come back to center. Let your arms release down. Walk your hands to the top of your mat. Walk your legs to the back into plank. So find a nice, strong plank posture. Spread the fingers, spread the toes. And then shift your hips over to the right. Shift your hips over to the left. And then come right into the center. Reach out through the crown of the head. Lift your right leg just a couple inches. And then release it down. Lift your left leg a couple inches. And release it down. And press all the way back to downward dog now. And then walk your feet in. And walk your feet just a little bit wider. A little variation here. This is another core exercise. You're going to shift the weight towards your legs. Little bend into the knees. And then you're going to lift your right hand and look to your right palm like you're looking in a mirror. So just look right to the lines of your palm. And then you're going to slightly shift the weight to that right foot and the left hand and see if you can lift your left leg. Good. Release the left leg down, release your right hand down, and then we'll switch sides. So first we lift the left hand. Keep the gaze steady at your left hand. For all of our balancing postures, you need to have your eyes fixed on one point, which is called your drishti. And then once that's established, draw the core in, shift the weight to those 2 points, right hand and left foot, and then lift your right leg up. Breathe. You can lift that leg any amount. We're just balancing here, so it really doesn't matter. And then release the hand, release the foot. Nice job. And then release down to your knees. Good. Inhale and take your gaze up and arch your back. Then exhale and round. Inhale, gaze up and arch your back. And exhale and round. Once more, inhale, lift up. And exhale and round. Walk your hands back, so now you're up onto your knees. Take your hands back behind you, reach your knuckles down, and lift your chest up. Back bend. A little heart opener. Deep breaths. And then releasing, bring your hands to your heart. Good. Release your hands down back to all fours and then back to downward dog. So if you've got knee stuff going on, you're going to need to modify this posture, but we're going to come into our Gomukhasana, cow's face. This is for the hips. You're going to take your right knee towards your chest, set the right knee down in the middle of the mat. And then you're going to tuck your left knee right behind it and sit back. So modifications would be to sit up on a block. But if that bend for your knee is not happening, you can cross your legs any way that feels okay. You can sit up in a regular seat. You can sit on a block. Any seated position is fine. This is can be a lot on the knees, but ideally your knees are aligned. So if you don't need a block, then move it to the side. But then if you can stack your knees right on top of each other, this is a nice deep hip opener. Feet are out to the side. Take your arms out to the side. And we're going to do eagle arms. So wrap the right arm underneath the left, right fingertips into left palm. So you can take the legs out of this entirely and just focus on the shoulders.
Deep breaths. If the shoulders are bothering you, you can take the arms out of the equation and just work into the legs. If all of this feels pretty good and you'd like to come deeper, you can begin to shift the weight forward, bringing your elbows towards your knees. And then slowly rise all the way back up. And release the arms. And we'll just lean back and switch the legs. So left leg's on top now. I want to push them together to get your knees stacked. Again, if that's not working, elevate your seat. You'll have a lot more room to access the hips here if you lift your seat up a little bit higher. Feet out to the side. You want to be even on both sit bones. So notice if you're leaning off to one side, probably best to elevate your seat. And then once you're in your seated position, take your arms out and we'll do the left side, left arm underneath the right, left palm into right fingertips. And you can modify this pose as well. You can grab opposite elbows, you can lower your chin down, you can reach the back of the hands together. Find a place that challenges you without any discomfort. And breathe deeply there. If you'd like to come deeper, you can lean forward slightly, or you can lift your arms up. You can feel there's a lot of different ways to go deeper. Most often it doesn't require any physical movement at all. The depth can be achieved in your awareness, which is really the most powerful place of all. And come back to center and release the arms. Oh, feels so good. Release the arms, release the legs. We're just going to take the left leg on the bottom and stack the right leg on the top, coming right into this deeper version of a hip opener, Agni Stambhasana. So again, you can elevate your hips. You can sit on a block if this isn't possible. If this is way too much on your knees, you can take your left foot under and come into this like figure four pose and have this left knee bent as little or as big as you need to. We're stretching this right hip. So this would be the more advanced version. Ideal not to let this ankle sickle here, so flex the foot so the ankle joint is strong. And stack your shins, lift up nice and tall, wherever you're at in this hip opener, and breathe. If you're able to come deeper, then fold forward with the breath. So every inhale, find some space in the body, find some length, find some room, and then on the exhale, shift just a little bit deeper. And again, in any sense of the word, deeper is up to you. Continue to breathe. Good, and then rise all the way up. And then we'll switch sides here. So just switch the legs, right leg's on bottom, left leg's on top. So again, it can look anything like this, figure four, and up towards this kind of seated pigeon posture. Or if you're able to bring that right leg under, stacking the shins, flexing that left foot. Make sure you're on your sit bones, helps to kind of pull the flesh back. And again, sitting up on the block, or towel, or bolster, just something to elevate those hips. And breathe here. Close your eyes. Turn your awareness inward. And inhale for space. Exhale for depth. And then slowly coming out, lifting all the way up, taking your legs out in front, stretching them all the way out. And then we'll lower ourselves down. So come all the way down onto your back. And take your knees in towards your chest as you make your way down. And give your knees a nice big squeeze. Hold on to the knees and draw circles. Nice little massage for the low back. And switch directions. And then keep your right leg in and extend your left leg out. And guide your right knee all the way over to the left side for a twist. Bring your right arm out to the side and look to your right. Try to keep that right shoulder on the mat. So the right knee is only going to come as far as it can before that right shoulder starts to lift up. So you want to meet in the middle here, where the shoulder stays grounded, where the knee pulls over, and you get a nice big twist right through the middle of your back. Deep breaths here. Lots of cleansing happens in these twists, so we want to make sure that we're breathing deeply to help facilitate that movement of the toxins out of the body. And then slowly come back to center and switch legs. Right leg stretches straight out, left knee pulls in. And then we'll guide that left knee over to the right side for our twist. Keep your left shoulder grounded. And look to the left. Use your breath. Often you'll get a nice little adjustment here in this posture, but the breath needs to be smooth. The body needs to be relaxed. And then come all the way back to center. And draw those knees in again. Good. Let's take one more hip opener here. Bring the feet up and reach up for your big toes into happy baby. Drop the knees down by your sides. This is just like that malasana, that squatting pose, like airport pose, but you're on your back. So now we pull the knees down. So for some of you, this might be a little bit easier way to access that stretch, or maybe not. Lots of different ways to approach these postures. And slowly releasing the legs all the way down, straighten the legs out, reach your arms up overhead and take a full body stretch. Stretch the legs, stretch the arms, and then release into your shavasana with your palms by your sides. Let your feet fall out. Just letting them relax. Let your legs relax. Let your hips relax. Let all of the core muscles relax. Shoulders, arms, hands relax. And the neck, face, all the muscles of the face relax. So the lips will slightly part. The eyes will softly close. Just feeling into this deep relaxation. Where all of the benefits of the previous postures settle in. Let yourself be completely present, completely still, and completely relaxed. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out the mouth. Bring in some gentle movements and make your way onto your side. And taking your time, pressing all the way up to seated. Keeping your eyes closed to avoid any distractions. In this nice tall seat, bring your hands together into a prayer position. sinking into the stillness, into the grace, into the peace. Namaste.